The Georgia Bulldogs, who are 22-10, 10-8 in the SEC, a league that put 10 teams in the NCAA tournament. This could be as fun of a game as we see all day.
Well, you talk about a team that's battle tested because of the teams in the SEC. They kind of seen different styles. So you're kind of prepared for a little bit of everything. I think the beauty of what St. Louis brings to the table, their ability to score at all levels, especially when you have a playmaker like Avida, Robbie. He's able to dissect the defense.
We had a shot clock issue, by the way, is why there was the pause. And here we go, off to the races. Dion Brown for two, the opener for St. Louis.
Well, and that's how you want to get this game started. You love for your defense to be the catalyst in which you set the tone for the game, and the Billikens are able to do that in that first defensive possession.
They only created 8 turnovers in that loss, that heartbreaking loss to Dayton in the A-10 semis over the weekend. They've already got one in 6 seconds or so here. Quentin Jones and Robbie Avila play that two-man game. That three fades right for Trey Green, the transfer from Xavier. And again, do not worry about the shot clock operator in this game. It's not a job that's going to matter a whole lot. We got a clear-out foul on the rebound action against St. Louis. And they're not saying SLU, as Mike White in season number 4 at Georgia has them to back-to-back NCAA tournaments for the first time since 01-02, and there was games there vacated, but they were there in 01 and 02 under Jim Herrick. But Mike White gets Georgia here after taking Florida there, and was there as a player 3 times for Ole Miss.
But they haven't won a game since defeating Murray State 85-68 in 2002 in the first round. So hungry to taste that first victory back in the big dance.
Kareem Stagg, the freshman, clangs a 3, and the rebound action leads to a board for Trey Green. He'll sprint it into the front court.
And Green, if you give him space, he may be shorter stature, but he has a beautiful stroke.
Brown misses a 3. He's a 40% shooter. He wants to ride it back in and do it all by his lonesome. 4-0 SLU.
Well, almost a give and go without the give. That's how Brown read where Green was at. The front door was open. Took advantage of it.
Last we saw Georgia on the floor, they tried to mount a huge comeback against Ole Miss in the second round of the SEC tournament and fell 4 points short. There's Smurf Millender, the transfer by way of UTSA. Stagg, the freshman, giving it up to a baseline drive. No good for Millender. Here comes St. Louis.
Good defense. Avila that time in traffic, able to get and defend at the rim. Now, the thing about Avila is that he may not sky above the rim, but he does protect the middle, which allows the Billikens to get out and run once again. And I love the pace in which St. Louis is playing with, more importantly, the attention to detail early on the defensive end of the court.
And an early sub as well. We mentioned Jeremiah Wilkinson, their leading scorer. He is off the bench within 2 minutes, 20 seconds for Mike White. They've gone empty offensively, 0 for 5 from the floor. Kane off the surreal screen. Here's Wilkinson, met by Green. He'll drive him anyway and get contact and a foul, and Wilkinson feels the brunt of that.
Yeah, gravity a little bit, takes place sometimes.
That'll happen. Josh Schertz, year number 2, 13 years in the state of Tennessee near the Kentucky border in Division II with Lincoln Memorial, and he coaches in his first NCAA tournament game in Division I. Blue Kane down the lane.
Finally, Georgia able to get something positive. A little patient, but underneath out of bounds. Kane able to use that left hand and get to the basket. And Schertz, you talk to a lot of coaches, they just value and appreciate his basketball intelligence.
That, by the way, was Kane able to 3 minutes into the game from Jim Jackson. Well, beautiful. Avila down low. Rims it in.
In the categories of Jokic a Alprinson goon, not overly athletic, but knows how to carve out space inside. Soft hands, soft touch.
And a foul on Cannon Catchings, the sophomore for Georgia.
You don't have to be athletic to do this. Know the mismatch. Present the lead hand and where you want the rock. Throw it here. I'll go get it. And Avila able to do the rest.
There are a bunch of different types of athleticism. I mean, the way he sees the floor is top notch.
I mean, it really is. And the thing is, too, you feel comfortable running offense to him. What that's going to do for offenses like Surreal, now you got to bring him out, which opens up the lane, okay? Because he can shoot it from behind three. You got to honor that.
Yeah, that'll put Santos Surreal in a bind. Yep. And Mike White knows it. There is Surreal with the defense on Quentin Jones, and Surreal goes diving on the floor. Brilliant play by Surreal. Cannon Catchings galloping down the lane, drawing contact, no whistle. Surreal can't believe it. He's got to get back his own self. Avila met by Catchings. He'll turn it wide. That's a Jones three that just clipped the iron. This is how it's going to be, though, tonight.
No, it is. You know, which team can kind of settle in, and you can get shots up all you want, but you got to get defensive stops to boot.
Jordan Ross, who is questionable coming into this game, and he'll drive and kick it. Smurf Millender with 8 to shoot. He's watched by McCautry. Millender the kick. Wilkinson missed it, but a foul on Dion Brown. And that is very quickly his second personal foul. He's got 6 points and 2 fouls. The landing spot wasn't clean, Jimmy.
It wasn't. You got 3 seconds left on the shot clock, and it kind of bailed him out with that foul right there.
The leg kick,
The leg kick, I don't know.
But here's the foul again on the Wilkinson three, and you saw during the break there's some contact on the wrist there.
It is, and two things can be right at the same time. The foul was up top, and yes, Wilkinson kicked his foot, but that was after the initial contact.
So Dion Brown picks up his second foul. He's a 40% three-point shooter, very efficient scorer. We'll see how Josh Schertz handles his playing time the rest of the half. But Wilkinson, 78% foul shooter, hits the first 2 for Georgia. A pretty good free throw shooting team. 75% as a group, 66th in the country starting the tournament. Wilkinson goes 3 for 3. Former leading scorer at Cal, who transferred here to Georgia and finds his way to the foul line quite a bit.
Well, you see why Coach Mike White immediately put him in the game, too. And he got positive possessions once he got in.
The country to find, and that is Dion Brown. He stays in the game. Josh Schertz riding with Brown.
Flawless execution here by the Billikens early.
Avila the defense.
Avila.
Ross the 2.
Yeah, that time Ross patient. Oh, turned it over.
It's a 3. It's no good for Wilkinson, who ended up on the hardwood again. It's another steal. Catchings. Play it to the wing, and that's another 3 on a foul. Again, Georgia will get 3 shots for Justin Bailey.
Now, the long closeout forces an out-of-control closeout that ends up presenting Georgia, in particular Justin Bailey, with 3 shots.
It's a second foul on Trey Green, by the way. The best to ever play the game are back for the milestone event. Light your torch. Biggest Survivor season ever. New CBS Wednesday, 8/7 Central. It's streaming on Paramount+. Please do not tell me who got voted off on Wednesday. I have not been able to watch yet. We've been prepping for the tournament. No spoilers, please. Thanks.
Silence is gold.
0 for 2 for Bailey. The senior transfer from Wofford by way of USC Upstate to South Carolina schools. 1 for 3 for Justin Bailey, who spent some time in the NCAA tournament with Wofford last year. They were a 6th seed in the Southern Conference. They made a run to to end up in the NCAA tournament in the first round last year. Avila leading the break, and somehow that nearly went in off the tip from Kellen Thames.
Yeah, Avila usually connects on that pass. And one of the few errors that he makes. Beautiful movement that time by Georgia to get the ball around the perimeter.
Bailey missed it, and McCautry couldn't corral it. Georgia basketball with 15 to shoot. Georgia will play all 11 guys here. Justin Absent is in the game. Mike White feels like his bench is an asset every game, but in this game, certainly.
And sometimes you skew it back, but sometimes foul trouble or other things can dictate who you play. Georgia's going to stay consistent with their hefty rotation.
That's a foul on Thames on the drive by Ross. Two more free throws for Georgia, who's already taken 6 foul shots. St. Louis for the year has allowed 60 more free throw attempts than they have taken. So this has been a theme in Billiken games this year.
Well, it could come back to haunt you in the wrong way by putting your opponent to the free throw line, in particular if you're not shooting the ball well on the offensive end.
Billikens to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2019. There's the Billiken mascot. It is, we'll go into more depth later on. That's a tease for you. It is a good luck charm, the Billiken is.
Did you rub the belly? Did you find one?
I have not found one in Buffalo.
I thought maybe because the mascot is here, that maybe you searched it out and needed some luck and wanted to rub the belly.
Well, the Billiken has been around town. Here's a layup for McCautry on the cut right down the middle of the lane. It's supposed to be even better luck given as a gift of Billiken. As the story goes, Kane zips it far side. Step through for Ross. Kick it up top. That won't go for Stagg. And the rebound for St. Louis. First time here in the NCAA tournament for 7 years. They went to 4 of them in the 90s under the legendary Charlie Spoonhour.
I'm so glad you brought that up. My former high school teammate, a good contested shot right there.
On the Dunlap miss, Avila. Cross lane, fine for Thames.
That's just knowing how to play, tight roping the baseline and dropping off a nice little dime. But my former high school teammate, Donnie Dobbs, played at St. Louis. Averaged about 16 points, played for Charlie in the early 90s. Shout out to Double D.
Legendary coach at St. Louis. Nice defense from Dunlap that time. And watch Robbie carve here.
Well, it's Avila right here. Backdoor cut over the top. We talked about the centers in this region or in this pod that can pass, right? None better than this young man right here. Milt Chamberlain. Able to get it down.
You would never say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is on autopilot. You'd never say that.
Roger that.
What'd you have for dinner tonight? The chicken or the fish?
You know what I had.
Lead is 5 for St. Louis.
And 2 pretzels.
I know.
I forced you to take some of the cinnamon one.
They brought you sympathy pretzels in between games. Layup no good for McCautry, and the rebound for Absent in Georgia. Blue Kane on the counterattack. He's called for an offensive foul. The junior from Knoxville.
Well, let's take a look. Sharma right there. Ooh. I don't know if Sharma was in position enough to be able to get that charge.
But as the rule has evolved over the past couple of years, if you initiate the contact and you haven't, your defender hasn't ruptured the cylinder, that can be an offensive foul.
Well, that time, Kane didn't extend his arm, but he did impact him with his shoulder. So
it's a close call.
It's a close call, like when
it's turnover number 4 for Josh Schertz's team. Wilkinson, long range bomb. Don't let him get hot.
Nope.
Year number 1 at Georgia. He was the 6th man of the year in the ACC last year in Berkeley. That's the first three-point make in this game for either team. And now Paul Otieno, the transfer from Quinnipiac, is in. He'll screen for Sharma, who triggers and misses a 3. St. Louis still quiet from 3. They'll run it down in the corner and play it through Thames to Otieno. He's hounded by Surreal, who's played very well on the perimeter so far. Thames the spin and dish. And that 3 will not count. The whistle came first. Jeremiah Wilkinson starting to cook.
Well, you don't have to be smart or overly smart to understand. Get your best player in the game, and he can make some buckets for you.
Get complete coverage of the NCAA Division I Women's Tournament on NCAA.com. During the timeout, Allie LaForce with Mike White.
Well, Coach, offensively, just 3 made field goals. This is still just a one-possession game. Walk me through what you're seeing offensively.
They do a good job of running you off the line. We've got to do a better job of showing it and driving it and kicking it. Our spacing hasn't been great. We got to the offensive glass a little bit, drew a couple fouls on the perimeter. We've got to get out in transition, but we got to get some stops, right? We got to get some defensive rebounds.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, they got to stop there. They got to steal, and the shot short involving Wilkinson, and the battle on the rebound ends up on the ground. And Sharma and St. Louis get a scoop for Thames.
And Thames, just like a smart running back, allows his guards to open up a hole, follows him a bit, and then finishes.
St. Louis has 16 points. They've all come from in the paint, including that layup for Thames, whose dad actually got hurt at Mizzou, as there's a 3 that goes down. The first 3 of the game for St. Louis is for Kellen Thames, whose dad got hurt. His dad, Kelly, was a Missouri Tiger, ended up not playing the year that Tyus Edney went coast to coast against the Tigers. And some Mizzou fans still wonder, what if Kelly would have played in that game?
Yep.
One of the iconic moments in tournament history. But a legacy here at St. Louis, leading by 7.
Well, I kind of like how the Billikens have started, because they've been on the attack. You see what it's getting them is opportunities inside. So they're throwing the first punch as far as taking control physicality-wise, and we're going to dominate the paint. Now Georgia will make an adjustment, and I think that will open it up for more perimeter shots for the Billikens.
We'll get a foul on the floor here. Back to Thames.
Well, not known for his shooting, but when he's open and you're rolling at 18% for the year, he was able to make it. An offensive rebound, that's point number 18 out of 21 have been in the painted area.
It's a big number. That is 2 fouls on Thames, by the way. So this is a rotation of 9. Thames has 2 fouls. Green and Brown in the backcourt have 2 fouls at 10:05 in the first half, Jimmy. Cannon Catchings missed the 3. Rebound down for Thames. They'll slide it to the wing. Oh my goodness, it engulfed it. Catchings just swallowed the basketball with his hand and arm.
Watch the catch-up speed. Kind of reminds you of somebody, huh? Plays in the association. Cleveland, Lakers, Miami.
Oh, you're going to go there.
Well, I'm just saying.
Like he doesn't get enough comparisons with his Aunt Tamika Catchings.
Well, that's right. Yep. He got basketball that runs in his family.
You were talking LeBron.
Well, yeah, because
no.
He looks like a young LeBron. LeBron was in high school. If you look at his facial feature.
St. Vincent, St. Mary, back in the day.
Ohio thing, you know what I'm saying?
I get it. I understand. Toledo's finest. Step back. Jones, no sir.
Good D that time by Kane. Able to contest that. Close enough. Smurf.
He doesn't care. He's got the nickname for a reason. He's been the shortest guy on the floor at points in his life, and he is just undaunted. As we check in with Allie for more on Cannon Catchings.
Well, Cannon told me that he actually talks to Tamika every single day, before and after every game. He says, I just soak in and take as much as I possibly can from her, which is exceptionally smart, but also his mom, who was a first-team All-Big Ten player at Illinois, and she played in the WNBA. He's on her, too. So he said she does a good job after the game of being a mix of mom and coach, but he definitely hears about the defense, the free throw shooting, and the rebounding on a daily basis.
And as the story goes, Allie, evidently, Cannon Catchings took his first steps as a kid in Brazil on a trip to watch his aunt play basketball.
That's incredible.
As the story goes. But
well-rounded as a player and well-traveled.
He talks to her every day?
Every single day.
Awesome.
Wouldn't you, though, if you had a basketball savant like that in your family and you were playing on this stage?
Unquestionably.
So why don't you talk to me every day?
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. If I could have just.
Why you don't call? You got my number?
I knew.
I'll let your boy, man. I'll walk you through some stuff, man.
And there the names come up on the screen again. St. Louis by 7. Thanks for joining us here in Buffalo. Avila whirling and firing and wouldn't sit down. And a gasp from everybody, including mom and dad.
I tell you, when you capture the attention of a crowd, it spreads like wildfire. Everything Avila does, people just want to see it just succeed. I mean, it's hard not to root for this young man. It really is, man. And he backs it up by how he plays.
He's a beautiful player. And Robbie Avila, there was a time, evidently, as a senior in high school, he tried contacts. And his brother said to him,
"Nah, bro,
what are you doing? You're not Robbie without the goggles." And so he went back to it, and it's become a signature.
I love it. What would be interesting is to see at the next level if a team is willing to take a shot. And it's some players in our league, and I talked about Alperen Sengun that plays for the Rockets that came out and no one really thought of. They thought of Brown right now, who's been getting to the basket.
Just shape-shifting in the lane. Yeah. Deion Brown into double figures. St. Louis by 11.
Well, you think about this. You remember Deion Brown picked up that second foul. Yep. You thought maybe he would be taking out the game, but he's played some intelligent basketball. Has given this St. Louis team a punch in the arm.
Oh, no, Robbie! Turnover to Millender. Up ahead, off the feet, it's Jake Wilkins, just like Dad Dominique attacking the rim. Other way, Jones, no dice. Rebound juggled and chopped right back to Brown. To Sharma filling the lane. That was sweet Georgia Brown style. This is the octane we expected. Blue Kane, no for 3. Offensive rebound chance, no go. Avila starts the break. Back tap leads to carnage and a foul as Jones was barreling down the lane. He needed a runaway truck ramp.
The paint has been battled and won by the Billikens, one after another. The domination is on. Billikens up 9.
About first the fact that you're shooting over 50% or that they're shooting 24, but how have you put your stamp on this basketball game?
Done a good job. Obviously, possession game with them. They do such a good job dominating that. We've got to be great on the defensive glass. We've got to take better care of the ball. When we don't turn it over, we're getting some good stuff.
Thank you, Coach. Keep it up.
Thanks.
Josh Schertz, who reportedly just signed a long-term extension with St. Louis. That's a step-back 3 for Green. And that is ridiculous. Trey Green for 3. 13 of 24 for the Billikens. Wilkinson, no answer. Rebound for Sharma.
Yeah, controlling tempo, pace. From the beginning of the game, St. Louis came out with a mission in mind to do this. Defensively, we're going to lock in. Offensively, we're going to take control of the paint. Tell them about a perfect combination. Green step back. Oh, man. Good contest, but not good enough. And then the high-low situation. Amari McCautry, Coach Schertz said when he plays well, he's a needle mover. He has that kind of talent, can take over a game.
look, our friends at KenPom have a stat of the longest and shortest average 2-point field goals in the country. St. Louis averages the shortest 2-point field goal distance in the nation, and we're seeing it. They are living at the rim. They're on an 8-0 run, and Trey Green wants to sway into a 3. Instead, he'll play through Avila. Off the spin. Oh, no! Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That 3 for Catchings won't go. Rebound tipped by Avila to Green. St. Louis pedal to the floor once again. Sharma missed.
The crowd was ready to go crazy too on that one.
There's a lot of blue in here.
Oh, there's a lot of blue.
What a pickpocket by Sharma. He read that perfectly. Sharma wants it back. The spacing is, let's say, not great. Lead of 17 for St. Louis, one of the best offenses in the country. And they'll ship it right there to the rim again from McCautry. And that sea of blue is elated here from St. Louis. Time out, Georgia.
Flew out Cinder with the slick move inside. And then sharing is caring. It's the reason why the Pelicans are dominating.
St. Louis by 19. Time for our game summary. They are scalding the Nets here. 16 for 28. 28 total points in the paint. And Robbie Avila filling the stat sheet with 6, 4, and 3 to this point, with 5 and change to go in the first half. What does Georgia have to do to get back in this thing?
Well, it's shot selection. First of all, run their offense. Get some more, get 2 feet in the paint, and then defensively, you have to figure out ways to get multiple stops. There you go, because what the Pelicans are doing is strategically dissecting the Georgia defense. Okay, we're not going to force up a lot of shots unless we have them like this.
Avila to miss.
But we're going to attack off the dribble, get back in play, force you to have to guard the paint.
Deion Brown made that happen. Green, it's blocked by Absent on the outside. Extra pass, that's Catchings in the corner, and it barely drew iron. St. Louis doing this without shooting the 3 well at all. They're the second best 3-point shooting team in the country. They're 2 for 12 from 3, as that save is live still. Avila off the find from McCautry. Still a lot of time for St. Louis on the possession. Here comes Robbie down the lane. Look out.
Well, just when you think the turnover is about to take place, the Pelicans kind of regather focus, run that middle pick and roll. Avila right there, able to knock it in. I love that pick and roll too, where Trey Green, Avila utilizing that big body. There's Green again.
Shattering ankles before a missed 3.
Yeah, if he gets going, he reminds me a lot of like Isaiah Joe, plays for Oklahoma City Thunder.
Follow the bouncing goggles.
Yeah, well, Avila right here takes his time to get there. When he's there, it's money.
Watch whip-around coverage of all men's games with Fast Break, presented by AT&T and the March Madness Live app. 12 assists already for St. Louis, Jimmy.
Wow, that's how you shoot 53%. Right over the top, Trey Green, Avila inside. Avila right here showing off his Magic Johnson passing. Once again, Brown. 2 guys are coming. Triggers the backdoor cut. That's how you dissect a defense. It's a reason why 17 made field goals off 12 assists. It's hard to guard the ball when it's moving, in particular when you have guys that are able to cut and find slots that are open and players that deliver the pass on time.
This is what Josh Schertz has cultivated in his time as a head coach. Again, 13 years in Division II. He lost 69 total games in 13 years. He brought it to Indiana State and now here to St. Louis, which has invested quite a bit into college basketball in the Atlantic 10. They open this year 24-1, Jim.
Yeah, well, as they should. I mean, it's outstanding history of basketball. And in today's world, you can go out and get the players you need as long as you got some dollars. Ooh.
Step inside, no good for McCautry.
From Georgia right here, we kind of make a run here the last 3:25. Ooh.
Wilkinson couldn't get it to go. It's pawed out of bounds, I believe off the foot of Dunlap it is, and it's Georgia basketball.
You saw the explosive nature by Wilkinson right there. Avila that time did a great job of outstanding job of going straight in the air. He took the blunt of that contact. Another possession here by the Bulldogs.
20 to shoot for Georgia. Smurf Millender missed it for 3. Rebound to the corner, and Dunlap for St. Louis. One and done again for Georgia. They're 1 for 15 from 3 to open this game.
Now, it's not like Georgia is a high percentage three-point shooting team. They only shoot at about 34%. But a lot of times they can shoot in volumes and get on a roll and kind of overwhelm you offensively.
Well, they're at about 7% right now. Dunlap cashes in. The St. John's transfer who dealt with the abdominal tear last year in the NCAA tournament into the score column. Wilkinson the answer.
Tough shot right there. Wilkinson with the ultimate concentration. The Billiken in his face on his side to knock that in.
Got 13 of their 27. Jeremiah Wilkinson off the bench today. Avila got Kane in the air. He lumbers into the lane. Dunlap. Skip it far side. No good for Jones. And a foul on St. Louis on the rebounding action. And that will be a 1-and-1 for Georgia. Dunlap can't believe it. And he's going to be the 4th Billiken with 2 fouls in this first half. But nobody has picked up a 3rd yet, Jim.
And that's good news. Because you want to have, full... all your ammunition loaded really for the second half, knowing that Georgia's going to make a run at you. So to be able to keep those guys out of foul trouble, picking up their 3rd in this first half is critical.
Oh, that's a big miss for Millender, an 85% foul shooter. And this will be a 1-and-1 on the rebound foul against Georgia. It's round 1, but you've been putting in the work for your team all season. Celebrate making it to the tournament with an ice cold Coca-Cola. As Robbie gets hydrated over on the bench.
Getting pretty good at this,
it's very nice. The team concept all the way through the crew.
Timing, exquisite.
McCautry, back iron. Rebound for Ross. Georgia needs a little push to halftime here to elevate the game pressure, and we'll get another foul against St. Louis. That's McCautry, and it's his first. 2 minutes left in this first half. Georgia has taken 13 free throws to St. Louis's 4. And Jordan Ross, who was a runner-up in the high school national tournament twice in his prep days, knocks down the free throw. America's best chefs battle it out for an unprecedented $1 million prize at America's Culinary Cup, the #1 cooking competition show. New CBS Wednesday after Survivor and streaming on Paramount Plus. Allie? Second one good for Ross. Allie, what do you have on Jordan Ross?
Well, he missed practice entirely yesterday, and everybody was very concerned. He didn't show up with the team. He was dealing with an illness, and he was listed as questionable for today, but he went through the full shoot-around this morning. It hasn't seemed to affect his minutes necessarily, but you never know how it's affecting him physically, especially from the standpoint of stamina.
Yeah, you just don't know as the game wears on, as the night wears on, too. This is a late start time. As Thames got 2 there, Wilkinson step back as a bullseye. He might try to will them back into this game.
Yeah, well, he'll try, and he'll take some tough shots, but he's proven in this first half that he can make it with a hand in his face.
Thames was met by Dylan James. Here's McCautry. Skip it. Otieno doesn't want to take the shot. Dunlap drops it back to him. Otieno roaming to the rim for 2 and a foul. And the Billikens have staked their claim on this goal and this paint.
Well, look at this ball move. This is the end. Handoff into a roll. The rotation is not timely enough to get in the way. And the ball, the way it's moving, the way it's shifting the defense, it's something beautiful to watch here in the first half. And you could see the difference in discipline offensively between the two teams on how important it is for the ball to move instead of kind of playing more one-on-one basketball, and how much more effective that utilization of the 5 players on the court can be.
Watching it live, courtside, what do you think of the space and the overall look of this St. Louis offense?
I love it. I love it because they play unselfish. They don't self-determine passes. They read and react off of their teammates, when to cut, when to pull back, when to pass it.
Wilkinson rifles it and misses.
That's a tough way to get back in the game.
But that's what you're talking about St. Louis doesn't do, right?
No, rarely have we seen it. I mean, the team is not perfect, but more so you see it with Georgia trying to do it by themselves one-on-one. And against this team, St. Louis, going to be tough to get back in the game that way.
Watch every men's game live on your computer, phone, tablet, or streaming device with NCAA March Madness Live. Download now to stay up to date on all the action. It has been a great day to watch 3 or 4 screens all at once. Great finishes. VCU, North Carolina went to overtime. Here in our first game, South Florida did everything they could to give Louisville a face full of a comeback after trailing by 23, but that ended up a Louisville victory. St. Louis by 15 with 38 and change here in the first half. Mike White trying to solve this intricate St. Louis surgical offense. Dunlap wants it. He shimmies down the lane and scores. He was clapping for the basketball with that matchup.
But then he attacked the closeout by Blue King. So you're talking about Mike White at halftime. 1, point of attack defense. 2, more pressure on the passer. 3, get back and settle in on your backside rotations. And 4, shot selection.
It's a lot of things to do in 20 minutes.
That's all right. You got to do it if you want to get back and win this game.
Wilkinson ends up on the ground again. 2 seconds, 1 second. The heave, probably late, and that'll just test the shot clock and see how it's feeling at about 11 o'clock at night. All smiles for St. Louis, the Avila family, and all the Billikens in blue from the gateway to the west. 17-point lead as we check in with Allie.
We're walking here with Roby. Your way, guys. This offense does not seem to care about what's at stake or its opponent. How important is the movement and the communication and translating your high-powered offense to the biggest stages?
Yeah, we knew we had to come into this game and kind of shift our defense. They're, big, athletic. And so in order for us to get to good looks that we wanted, you're going to have to move it around. You're going to have to keep playing. And so we've been working on this since June 1st. And so this is just a product of all the hard work we've been doing.
Your defense just impressive. How are you keeping them from not hitting from 3? 2 of 18 Georgia was from 3 in the first half.
I think we're doing a little bit too many fouls, a couple dumb ones. So we got to cut that back. But just rebounding, matching their physicality. Again, like I said, they're athletic. And so we got to be more physical than them. I think that's what we're doing.
Thank you, Robbie.
Thank you.
Very relatable from Robbie Avila. Some people prepare in 3 days. They've been doing it since June 1st for the first round of the NCAA tournament. What an advantage. AT&T at the half, scores and highlights. Latest tournament news all coming up. AT&T at the half.
Well, we know Georgia has one of the highest scoring offenses in the country. So what happened in the first half? But more importantly, how did you inspire each other at halftime to make the second half different?
We really had to get on each other. We came out with sleep, and we just didn't play hard enough. They played a lot harder than us. And, boiled down to that, they got loose balls, they got rebounds, and we have to come out the second half and play a lot harder and, care about the game more.
That's great insight. Get out there with your guys. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
It's a great question, and you respect the honesty, right, for Jeremiah Wilkinson? Like, some things got to change for Mike White, and if it's player-led, great. If it's him-led, great.
Well, sometimes you just got to play harder and make better decisions, and that'll help you with your execution. Let's see if that's a part of the game plan for the Bulldogs here in the second half.
St. Louis just 3 for 15 from 3 in that first half and up 17. Right down the back door, Deion Brown, just like the game started, he's got 12.
Well, this is a team in St. Louis that, you know, they shoot about 28 threes a game. They shoot it at 40%, but they don't rely on it. And that's the beauty in what you see about their offensive versatility. They're just as comfortable if they're not making those shots, putting the ball on the deck and attacking the paint.
Avila, great find downstairs. What a spectacle.
Well, but the game in the second half mirrors the beginning and the start of the first half, which is drive, you overplay, the next play I'm backdoor cutting and getting the layup.
Oh my goodness. Brown just took it right from Georgia, 6 in a row, and exactly what Jeremiah Wilkinson needed to not happen. And you see him over on the bench. That's 6 in a row, just like Brown did to open the game. Down the lane, no dice for Catchings. St. Louis shot out of a cannon again. Jones, no, nobody home for Georgia. McCautry for 2, and this is in real danger of a total blowout. St. Louis has all the energy right now. Drive for Ross, and this is going St. Louis's way. I mean, sound the alarm here. Time for our AT&T connected cam.
Robbie Avila right there with the beautiful backdoor cut. And then St. Louis, feisty, quick hands. Brown doing the rest. This is not how the Bulldogs wanted to begin this second half. Well, the second half is mirroring the first. And just think about this. Jason Benetti was concerned that Deion Brown picked up 2 fouls earlier.
I was.
He's a senior. He knows how to play. Coaching staff trusts him. He says, just for that, I will reward you here at the beginning of the second half and get 6. These 8 points, I believe it is.
Last time St. Louis won an NCAA tournament game was 2014. It was an overtime win. Rob Lowe had a double-double. Jordair Jett was on the team.
The actor?
No, different Ryan. It's L-O-E. Thanks for asking.
Well, they tied the record here, 28 wins this year.
It's been a banner year for St. Louis, and right now for Georgia, as the great Rick Jeanneret once said for the Buffalo Sabres, Mayday for Georgia, trailing by 25 and a takeaway for Blue Cane.
The Bulldogs seemed a little stunned. I mean, you come in with an idea of how you want to play, what your opponent may be, but then feel the full breadth of what the Pelicans have put together, in particular, by not shooting the ball well.
Avila stonewalls Wilkinson.
Avila, that time, arm straight in the air. And Jones,
yes, he did, Quentin Jones.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
Uh-huh.
Man, stop that. He just hung in the air. Sleight of frame, but up in the air. Able to maintain his poise, absorb that contact. Look at this defense right now. It's by the Pelicans. This
intercepted by Green. Will it be a pick 6? The answer is yes.
Emphatic yes. What coaches say about the cross-court pass?
Don't do it like that.
And then you do it, and guess what? It's a transition basket for your opponent.
This is hard to believe for Georgia. You see the looks on the faces. 12-0 run this half already. Watch this. This is visual evidence it happened.
Ooh. You know what's interesting too is that of all the games we had today, we were all talking about the 8-9 game this evening would be probably outside of that South Florida Louisville at the beginning. You say, okay, the bookends would be the ones that probably take you down to the wire. And well, this one so far has been total domination by the Billikens.
Total domination. Big Big day for the south suburbs of Chicago, by the way. Quentin Jones from Marian Catholic, Robbie Avila from 151st Street and Oak Forest High School, and the Bengals all-time leading scorer. And St. Louis, this is a really proud program. There's a generation of fans who don't know the Larry Hughes days in the 90s or the Erwin Claggett, Scott Highmark teams in the mid-90s. But this is a really proud program.
I told you, my former teammate in high school, Donnie Dobbs, during his time, he had a heck of a run. Undersized power forward. The history, tradition, like you talked about, Jason.
Yeah, in 95, they had a really good team. They ran into Tim Duncan and Wake Forest.
Duh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rick Majerus ended up coaching there as well after Charlie Spoonhour in the Great Midwest and Conference USA. Trey Green snipes that one away, and he'll back it out. No reason to hurry. Up 29 for SLU. Jones.
Cut.
What a cut. It's McCautry just cleaving the lane.
I tell you, this team does an outstanding job of reading the defense, and the timing of the cuts are just superb.
I mean, this is a brochure for Josh Schertz and St. Louis right now. That lob is going to get rejected by the rim. McCautry's free. McCautry one-on-one past Millender. St. Louis is blanking Georgia in this second half. This is 16-0 after halftime. 52 points in the paint. Another pickoff. McCautry. Down the lane, show and go. Nope, but yes, Quentin Jones smashes it home, and everybody in blue is real happy they made the trip to Buffalo.
And Mike White is going to call this timeout and take it and just replace 4 players.
Doctor.
Well, I guess when you rub the belly of the Billiken, I guess it does bring you a little good luck.
Time for our AT&T connected cam, and there are Billikens everywhere here in Buffalo right now.
It is, and Billikens travel well, I see, because right there's a 3-on-1 basically fast break. And when it's rolling, and it's rolling.
It's 18-love in the second half. Finally, Georgia is on the board. Justin Bailey for 3. An 18-0 run to open the second half for St. Louis.
That doesn't even sound right, especially against this Georgia team. But this Georgia team did not show any kind of fire. Now they're showing a little bit here now, but to begin that second half, this second half, the change in demeanor seemed the same, but okay, a couple back-to-back 3-point shots.
Smurf Millender for 3. But Michigan awaits the winner here. And St. Louis is putting on a clinic offensively, leading some in college basketball circles. I'm sure to wonder about what that matchup would look like. Avila got decked. He ends up on the ground, backside first, no whistle.
Yeah, but this is a matchup with Georgia that plays very similar style that St. Louis plays. And 3 baskets in a row. The Michigan team plays a different style. They have size, athleticism. So the matchup is, again, this game is not over.
No, not at all.
Not at all. But if it were to take place, it would be different. Even for Georgia, it's a different matchup with Michigan and their size.
We learned earlier the largest deficit anybody's come back from is 25 in the NCAA tournament as Avila barrels down the lane and draws the foul on Abson for Georgia.
Well, I like that smart play because a couple empty possessions by the Billikens. Avila, instead of waiting, he went right to the basket. Okay, just stop all this nonsense. You know, we had, a couple missed shot, couple turnovers. Gave it to Georgia to score.
Free throw good for Avila. Bleacher Report is your one-stop destination for March Madness. Get every moment all tournament long with personalized updates and highlights from your favorite teams. Download the BR app now.
And Avila Think about it. Like most point guards, they got to settle you down. They're the coach on the floor. Well, that's his role.
Yep.
Kind of get the ball in his hands, run some offense through him.
Always watching over Billikens fans with his goggles. But sometimes when he and his brothers were wrestling back in the day, he forgot to take the glasses off. And, you know, that's how you lead to thinking about contacts. But the signature goggles are there with him for all of time. Tried to sneak by. Instead, Thames will keep it. Into the corner. That's good for Jones. Stagg for two. Freshman from Virginia.
Nice.
Ball moves so fast.
I mean,
Dunlap sticks the landing.
I mean, can't draw it up any better than that.
Opposite corner. Millender sinks a three. Marcus Smurf Millender doesn't want to go out of the tournament without at least showing up from three. He's got two in the second half. There's some prideful Bulldogs in that locker room.
Yep.
Thames down the lane, spun it out. Georgia counter punch. Smurf Millender down the lane. That's blocked away by Sharma and out of bounds off of St. Louis. Otieno comes in. Avila takes a seat. Certainly this is not salted away, but if you do put it away early on, you could think about giving some guys a little bit of time off their feet with the late start.
True, and that's what you want too. Late start, get your starters quality time in, but then know when to bring them out. But you want to gauge that, and all coaches have like a timer in their mind, or a score, or a spread when they do that. Long two.
Millender missed it. Rebound for Thames. Stagg couldn't contain him. Dropping off Otieno and a foul call. You had it. St. Louis Billikens. Love and life here in Buffalo. Up by 27 late night.
I'm Jamie Erdahl back in New York with the Wendy's Game Break. Let's see some fresh action happening now on TBS. Gonzaga was down by 4 with under 2 to play. Since then, a 19-6 run. That is Graham Ike pump fake, finds the paint, made the free throw. He leads all scorers with 14. Jason, Jim, and Allie.
Winner of that game gets Texas Longhorns despite 35 from A.J. DeBonsa. BYU gets bounced. That Gonzaga team has flown a little bit under the radar in the regular season. I know they've had a great year and they've been in the 3-seed range for most of the season, but Graham Ike's played a lot of college basketball, Jim.
Yes, he has. And Mark Few has coached a lot of basketball games to understand heat in the moment, and that Georgia Bulldog fan is like, "Mommy, I had enough. Can we just get? Why are we still? Why are we here?"
But then heard Jim Jackson's voice and just perked up.
You see, I wasn't going to say it. The sultry sounds, the melodic vocal thrones.
Mm-hmm. We don't have a Coke promo right now. Foul goes against Quentin Jones for St. Louis. Millender plays it along for Bailey. Stagg denied by Otieno.
Otieno right there. I mean, great anticipation to get that block. Stagg thought he had easier go at the rim, and too aggressive on the defensive end right there.
That's on Stagg, who bowled over Dunlap. St. Louis, under the current tournament format, has not found its way to a Sweet 16.
Under the current
format, when byes were eliminated about 41 years ago, 3 straight second rounds in the 2010s. Mentioned the 4 tournaments in the 90s and then the 2000 team as well under Lorenzo Romar. But St. Louis has been a juggernaut so far today. I mean, you talk about efficient offensively. They are 60% from the floor 29 minutes into this game. Jones stabs the rim.
Right on cue of how you shoot 60% from the floor.
Stagg through traffic. Got it outside Wilkinson. That's his first bucket here in this second half. Jeremiah Wilkinson had 16 of their 32 in the first. Still a 28-point lead for SLU.
Yeah, the shot's going in for Georgia, but can't make a dent because they're not doing this. They're not getting any stops consistently on the defensive end. And
how about Jones here?
Well, we saw his athleticism earlier when he kind of hung in the air. This one, hang, fight through, and finish. Yes, sir.
Think about what Quentin Jones has seen in his basketball life. He spent 1 year at Cal Poly. They were 4-28. He spent 1 year at Northern Illinois. They were 6-25. You wouldn't blame a guy for thinking, is it me? Is there something I did? What did I do? And he was never that guy. He comes here to St. Louis, plays for Josh Schertz, and he turns a combined 10 and 53 into 28 and 5.
But he's grown and matured over the year, too, so you can't discount that into what it really takes to be a team player and sacrifice. And when you do that with other individuals that follow that same thought process, coupled with an outstanding coaching staff, guess what you get? The record you just talked about and a chance right here to move on to another game in March Madness.
They certainly have hit the reset button. They were 4-4 their last 8, opening 24-1 as that 2 goes down for Ross. But St. Louis early in the year, their only loss in the first 25 games was an overtime 1-point loss to Stanford.
Yep.
They were a dominant team in an A-10 that we've seen tonight with VCU and what they've done. That's some dangerous weaponry.
Well, but it's also too about matchups once you get in the tournament. Like I said, this Georgia team plays very similar style of basketball, maybe not as disciplined offensively as St. Louis. So the matchup presented itself so far to be perfect for what the Billikens needed to kind of forget about that 4-4, reset their mind, and feel good about themselves offensively. Look, they're getting anything and everything they want.
Sharma sinks it from the corner. 83 points with 9.5 to go.
Wow. Never would have thought this coming into this game based on what I've seen from Georgia. And that's not any slight or disrespect for St. Louis.
Sharma, other corner.
Give me that.
Yeah, he did. Just took it away. McCautry got it up top. That's good. Avila knocks it down and gives him a thrill here in Buffalo.
Avila, there you go. Keep the glasses, big fella.
Underside of the basket, out of bounds. Robbie's got a big smile on his face.
Well, be quick, but don't be in a hurry. All right? Avila, that time. I see you. I got 2 of them things. I want 3. Look at the crowds. Avi. Oh, man.
SLU Alcindor is everybody's favorite player in the tournament right now, at least here in Buffalo. Spin it for Dunlap. He'll start his move and then throw it somewhere else. Into the backcourt. Robbie's on the run, and it's picked up at the end line by Louisville, and a dunk for Dylan James. This is a machine. St. Louis has been all night long. Stringing ahead, Dunlap. That's him in the corner.
Wow.
That three misses for Millender. I mean, now you're just kind of awed by what St. Louis has done tonight. Rarely do you see this. And yes, over the course of history, 9 seeds have had a positive result generally in these games, but they're absolutely dissecting Georgia.
But here's the thing, even that they're up big, they're not straying away from the formula. And that just tells you how disciplined this team is. Well, Stephen Blurry showing the range right here from behind the three. It's a little acting job at the end, but it's all good.
Our game summary is egregious offense from St. Louis. 91 points, 63% from the floor, 58 points in the paint. The foul trouble never really became an issue for St. Louis because in the open floor, they have been a sports car tonight.
Yeah, you're a Georgia fan. You didn't like that last amount of information that was up, but it wasn't pretty. But, you know, it's interesting, too. One game scenario, you don't know how pressure of the game affects different players, different teams. But sticking to a game plan and then executing it is two different things. Planning a game plan and sticking to it is two different things. And St. Louis from the beginning, I just love, I think, the mindset that they opened the game with, to attack off the dribble, get two feet in the paint.
Josh Schertz, who was an assistant at High Point University, is a Florida Atlantic alumnus in 2000, then made his way to Lincoln Memorial in Harrogate, Tennessee. 13 seasons there. Wilkinson bags a three. He's not done. But over on that St. Louis bench, and there's a reason the reported numbers, it's a 6-year extension for Josh Schertz for St. Louis. There's a reason they want him there. He has been a dynamo at Indiana State and St. Louis. Bailey bluffs the three for Georgia here, and Wilkinson misses that one. Rebound for James. Play it along for Catching, looking for his first points, and that won't fall. He's had a frustrating night. 0 for 10 from the floor for Cannon Catchings. And 62% from the field for Slew.
Brown, look at the cut.
There's a cut for Sharma.
And it's perpetual motion, but it's not motion and cuts that impede the progress of a driver. It's perfectly timed.
An open floor again. Trey Green will slam on the brakes just for a moment. Michigan awaits the winner here. The Wolverines put up 101, the first 100-point game in this venue in the NCAA tournament in its rich history of hosting tournament games. Sharma got it for 2 more. He's had a big second half. Ishan Sharma, the Ontario native. That's knocked away from Ross. When it comes to sports, you can never have enough. Hit every highlight with CBS Sports HQ, streaming free 24/7. 9 seeds over the last 7+ tournaments are now 19-10. Jimmy.
So you're saying that when you see a 9 seed and you get your bracket, you count that. You want to
flip it and reverse it.
Yeah, and get that dub. Okay. But I mean, that's because a lot of those teams, too, depending on what conference they come from, the 8 seed is not much better. You know, just.
Oh, it's a coin flip.
It's a coin flip, you know, dealer's choice.
But that's the thing about coin flips. Like, we call them that because it should be heads or tails on average 1 out of 2 times.
It should, but.
It hasn't been recently. TCU a winner earlier today over Ohio State by 2.
Oh, beautiful.
Just threads it through, and that's a big kick in the head for Sharma.
Oh, man.
Hope he's all right down there. Ishan Sharma took a big hit.
And nothing intentional. That time, it's Kane just flying in the air, and it hits him, the knee right there on the side.
Previous play is under review.
That is a nasty hit for Ishan Sharma, native of Canada. We're going to walk over to the sideline. They're going to review it for a possible F1. We'll step aside with St. Louis up huge.
Think I'm going to let you have all the fun? You must forget that.
Oh, see you on the Ferris wheel. It was a common foul, no upgrade. That's way too easy. Right on the welcome mat. Kellen Thames for 2.
Yeah, I like the call by the officials. Nothing intentional there. Incidental contact because of the pump fake. But underneath out of bounds, count the bucket.
That 3 is no good for Green. Sharma going right back into the mix after getting a boot to the head.
Yeah, got called for over the back.
Yeah,
though.
he did.
Yeah, give him an 8 for effort though. Coaches don't mind those kind of fouls when you're hustling up, and this St. Louis team about to put a hundo up on the scores, and never at once did it seem like they forced the offense. Did it? Like it just, think about how many times we may have said, "What? Oh, they're taking a tough shot. That was a tough shot. That was a tough contest." I just can't remember saying it may have been 1 or 2.
No, they've gotten what they've wanted and when they've wanted it too, you would argue.
But that's the beauty of basketball, is that when it's played collectively as a group, when you're on the same, you're synced in on the same page, when the ball is hopping and moving, it is something of poetry, and it works and it clicks and it's automatic. You start to see things. The game slows down for you. Backdoor cuts, dribble drive penetration, help comes. You know exactly what the defense is going to do before it happens. You know where the openings are going to be. That's when it's in its best form.
We were talking to Tom Izzo about that first time he made the NCAA tournament 28 years ago. That the long streak of 28 consecutive NCAA tournament makes when there's been a tournament. They played Eastern Michigan in the first round. Their second opponent, you talk about putting stress, as a 4 seed for Michigan State that year. There's a 3 for Sharma. It's 100 for St. Louis. Back-to-back triple digits for Michigan and St. Louis. Tom Izzo, in his first tournament as a head coach, faced, there's a dunk as well for Dylan James, 5 seed Princeton in his second round on a day and a half of prep. And you could see, even reminiscing about 1998, there was stress in his eyes.
Well, I mean, that's...
But that type of offense, what you're talking about, there's beauty to it.
It's beauty, and it's a discipline that only a few players that play in that system have.
Thames too strong. Rebound hugged down by Wilkinson. We're under 4 to go. St. Louis is going to win its first NCAA tournament game in 12 years. You know what? Jeremiah Wilkinson has shown a lot of guts in this game, though. What he said to Allie at halftime, you could tell he was one of those guys who got after it in the locker room. He's got 27 of the 65 for Georgia.
Yeah, he'll give up some of those numbers to be playing on Saturday, I can tell you that.
Oh, absolutely. Sharma springs for another, and somehow didn't win the Carnival game.
It was a small rim.
Yeah.
A small rim.
Anybody have any milk bottles and rings? 2 and a foul for Smurf Millender. 100 to 67. A slew of points for the Billikens. After all the games are over, Adam Lefkoe, Bruce Pearl, Jamal Mashburn, Seth Davis have all the highlights and analysis on Inside March Madness presented by Lilly. Later tonight, only on True TV. This very well could be the largest margin of victory in an 8-9 game. We'll see how we come down the stretch here, but 32 back 4 years ago for North Carolina. St. Louis, Jimmy, in its last 2 NCAA tournament games, 2019 against Virginia Tech, 2014 against Louisville, scored a combined 103 points.
So what you're saying, this is different?
This is different. Yes, that is the takeaway.
Oh, okay.
You got it.
All right.
100-68. Robbie Avila, 12 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds tonight. Country on the verge of a double-double. That lob to the rim leads to a whistle, and Dylan James couldn't corral it. It had been a while for Georgia, too. I mean, you said it. Last time they were back-to-back to the NCAA tournament was 01-02, and vacated season there for Georgia. Free throw for James is good.
Well, I tell you, that feeling right there of what I or we could have done better at the beginning of the game to not have this outcome, the reality that the season is over.
There's a steal. Wilkinson, rising fire, missed it for 3, and we'll get a rebound foul. And let's see, it's on Georgia, I believe.
The best part about that play was a young man that was mopping up the floor.
Yeah.
It changed possessions so fast. There he is. He got watching me. You can't. Oh, there he is.
Get out. Bail.
Just when you thought it was safe, jump back in the water.
Buddy's like, look, red lights for you.
My
dude.
man is on TV. But you see how he gained his balance by he whipped the broom right in front. That gave him more leverage. See?
Oh, is that how it works?
Yeah. He whipped his hips.
I feel like you really want to illustrate this, and we're not going to let you do that.
Well, I couldn't do it anyway. I don't have one.
No. Magic of TV. Georgia, though, I mean, that is.
That right there, that highlight speaks volumes for this last game.
The way it's gone.
Yeah.
That is right. Get out while you can.
You said it, I didn't.
No, That 3 for Dunlap is no good. And the rebound for Dylan James. Look, Georgia has scored 108 times themselves. They expected to be on the other side of this tonight. Wilkinson again knocks down a 3. He's got 30 tonight for Georgia. Tough pass taken in by Otieno. Get it to the corner. That 3 won't fall. Rebound off the Hudson miss. It's Millender. He misses. Rebound for Jax Kerr for St. Louis. See if Josh Schertz gets his son in the game. His son Jaden has 13 career points. He's been through a lot with dad, and Jaden is going to get into this game.
As he should.
Josh's wife, Natalia, has been all over the country with sons Jaden and Jordan, and Jaden gets into the game.
Yeah, wifey said, you up big. They get my baby in the game. Jaden is in there. Like most men, you follow those directions, get him in the game.
It's a drive and score for Trey Green. 102 for St. Louis. 66 points in the paint. The most in an NCAA tournament game since 2015. That won't fall. Rebound snared by Wilkins. No rise for 3 and hit the top of the backboard off the rim. And St. Louis, Michigan is really intriguing coming up on Saturday.
It really is a really disciplined St. Louis team versus the size and athleticism.
Isaac Holmes had it swatted away. That's not nice by Wilkins, and a foul called.
Yep, and the more physical nature of Michigan. Will they be able to have the freedom of movement that they had in this game where those backdoor cuts were plentiful? The passing lanes were open.
How do you think they attack the length? If you're St. Louis and you see Lendeborg and Mara and those guys.
Move it. Move. That's the best way you can attack length. If they're stationary and they're plugging in the gaps, it's going to be a tough afternoon to score the ball. But if you're able to shift that height side to side, now those gaps become more available, whether it's via the pass or it's the drive. And value the basketball. Michigan will turn it over at times, okay? So can you force live ball turnovers that allow you to get out above the break, relieve some pressure off your half-court offense by getting some baskets in transition?
We're going to find out coming up on Saturday. St. Louis will get one more shot for Hudson. Rebound tapped out to the sideline, and this will be Georgia basketball.
Yeah. Not the way you wanted to end it if you're the Bulldogs, not saying, well, you had a great year and accomplished a lot. You had a lot of records in scoring, but all that kind of goes out the window when you lose a game like this.
Stag the slam. 25-point win. The St. Louis Billikens announce their presence in the NCAA tournament in a big way in 2026. Josh Schertz has his first NCAA tournament victory. St. Louis wins 102-77 in our finale in Buffalo. They'll take on Michigan, and we'll wrap it coming up next. Michigan and St. Louis toe-to-toe Saturday here in Buffalo. It's a 1-9 matchup. Coming up, St. Louis a big win as we go to Allie LaForce.
Well, Dion, congratulations. What a statement you made. How much fun were you guys having out there? And it's such an incredible all-in team effort.
Yeah, I mean, this is how we played all year long up until our final stint. I think we finished our last 8 games 4-4. Well, we've been capable of this all year. We've been doing it all year. To finally be back to doing it against an amazing opponent like Georgia, I mean, it's unbelievable.
So many people talk about your high-powered offense, but your defense has also been nationally recognized all year from a statistical standpoint, once again shutting down one of the highest-scoring offenses in the country. How proud are you of the fact that you guys can be balanced on both sides of the ball without even blinking an eye? I
mean, insanely proud. You know, you see these teams, either they're super good offensively, super good defensively, and we're able to do both. You know, a night like tonight, you know, things just started to fire on all cylinders, and it couldn't happen at a better time.
We'll see you on Saturday. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Thanks to Dion Brown. Jimmy, thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure, my friend. You're talking about the best substitute teacher in the whole USA. That's you.
Thank you, Jimmy.
No problem.
Thanks to Tom Heitz and Matt Lipp and our entire crew for your hospitality. You all have been wonderful. BA, get well soon. Tournament continues live on TBS and True TV. Coverage on CBS begins tomorrow at noon. For everybody, I'm Jason Benetti. So long from Buffalo. You've been watching the NCAA Men's Championship on CBS Sports.